Wonder Soul. Wonder Soul.
Wonder Soul.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Before we get started with this week's episode, I wanted to preface to let you know about the format of this episode. So it's going to be a little bit different. I had planned to have these two guys on and we would have had a group discussion, but because of scheduling and busy lives, you guys understand, we had to make it work a different way. So I had Brent from Work in Progress. I'll drop a link in the description for his YouTube channel. And I also had Mike from UnkleMikesWorld on. Each of them, we had really good conversations. Me and Brent talked more about the Xbox Showcase and Diablo and some other stuff more related to like Sony and Xbox. This is recorded before the Xbox Showcase, so you know, obviously we don't know what was shown. We didn't talk about that, but I hope that we can plan to have a conversation about that at a later date. Me and Mike, on the other hand, we talked about Zelda, a little bit of Nintendo, and just kind of that landscape and just our thoughts on the game so far of Breath of the Wild 2, which is Tears of the Kingdom. Sorry. It can get a little confusing. So I'm just recording this little snippet before I put together the episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Look forward to more guest episodes. I think that's just the focus moving forward, and I really appreciate your guys' patience. I hope you guys are doing well, and check the timestamps in the description if you guys want to skip ahead to a certain part of the episode. But starting off, we're going to jump in with Brent from Work in Progress. Welcome everyone to another episode of Wonder Soul. I am joined today in this episode by Brent of Work in Progress. He's got a YouTube channel that you guys can check out. I'll have the link to his channel in the description of this episode. But we are going to talk about some gaming stuff. Hopefully we can cover all the points we want. I have been on Brent's channel, I think a couple times now. We've gone back and forth like on Instagram and stuff. So we're always talking about gaming, and we might not always agree on everything.
but it's honestly, it's like as much as I like to troll you, like I actually generally enjoy our conversation.
Yeah, no, same here, man. And I think we both keep an open mind, but we're also like very passionate of just gaming in general, even though like, I'm Team Xbox at the moment, man. I'm riding high. I actually just got one of those custom Xbox controllers. I finally gave in and bought one of those, and it came in the mail. I'm digging it. I love the controller, man. But at the same time, my last system was a PlayStation 4. So, sure. I've been playing Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, and all sorts of titles. And so, but one of the things I wanted you to come on the podcast to talk about, because I'm sure we were just talking before this about just different ideas for like future episodes. But for this one, Sunday, June, I think 11th.
Yeah, this coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Tuesday night. So we're less than a week away from the Xbox Showcase, which, Xbox needs this. I will say, like, they really do need a good, big, fat W in this one.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, like, I had you on for my PlayStation Showcase, and so I like to keep my expectations tempered, and I really think everybody should keep their expectations tempered. And the thing is, like with the PlayStation Showcase, like let's just say that like my baseline was 20, right? 20 out of 100. Okay, it's like that's like really low. Like so, like in theory, like it should go up at 20, right? With PlayStation, right. With the PlayStation Showcase, it went down, and so I'm keeping Xbox at about 20, right?
Right.
So it's like all they got to do is get 21. It's like all they got to do is get 21 and it'll be better. But you know, the thing though is like I actually, and you know, this is going to sound like, look, I am rooting for Xbox, but they have a consistent track record of missing the mark. And I mean, Game Pass is the only thing that hasn't missed the mark, but like the games that I want to play on the platform are missing the mark, if that makes sense. So like I was telling a buddy of mine, he was actually on my buddy Jeremiah, who was on the PlayStation show, that here's what is here, and I feel like he even was kind of blown away by how I summed this up. Xbox is really good at showing games, but they're bad at delivering said games. PlayStation is bad at showing games, but is pretty good about delivering. I'm never usually impressed with PlayStation showcases. This past one was just really, really bad. So like it's just like I was kind of blown away by like how unimpressive it was. And this is from someone who generally I'm team PlayStation. And so what Xbox really needs to do is they need to deliver. They really need to deliver on everything that they say. And I think one of their big issues is that too many people from Xbox, they talk too much. Like they got to stop talking. They just got to stop talking. Like Aaron Greenberg is out there this week just saying a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, dude, chill. Like everybody's expectations are really, really high for this showcase. And Aaron Greenberg, Mr. 60 frames per second, is going to be the industry standard. And Kate can't release a game that is consistent at 60 frames per second, is out there saying things like, oh, like this showcase is going to be amazing. It's just like, dude, chill. It's like, just chill out. Anyways, I've rambled on.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I like, you know, it should be a good show. But the thing is, I want Starfield to be good. Not Bethesda good. I want Starfield to be Microsoft owned by Bethesda owned by Microsoft good. Meaning like Microsoft has billions of dollars that they can throw at acquisitions. So in theory, they should be throwing money at the studios that they already have. I know that this is really unfair to Starfield, but like I'm holding Starfield to an extremely high standard that it really needs to meet in order for me to be happy as a gamer when playing Starfield.
No, look, man, I think like that's the big focus right now for them is Starfield. Like they're even doing a Starfield show following the showcase, which is really cool. Like you would think that they would just have it all in one, but they're really just making sure that they cut off some time to really just focus on Starfield. But, you know, really after Redfall, I almost said Redfield. Never mind. But Redfall, right? So we all know about Redfall. If you're listening to this and you don't know about Redfall, it was a Xbox exclusive that was pretty hyped up by Xbox, honestly. They were like really excited, I guess, quote unquote, excited about this because now there's all this news about the developers are like, man, we were hoping they would have just canceled this game or at least let us reboot it as like a single player focused game, which it's like a looter shooter.
It's Borderlands with vampires.
Yes.
And my whole thing was like, I remember like reading about it. I remember even playing it. And I was just like, how do you mess up Borderlands? How do you mess up?
I know.
Like, how do you mess up a like this formula that is, it's hard. You can't
It's hard to master, but it's like easy to replicate. Like you can like there's plenty of looter shooters out there. There's a few great ones that have really set the standard, but you know, you can do it. And the fact that you know, Microsoft put in all this time and energy into advertising this game and hyping it up, and it flopped. And you know, that's a shame, dude. I mean, I'm really hoping
it was. I was looking forward to Redfall.
Me too.
Like that was actually one of my most anticipated games of the year. An Xbox game was one of my most anticipated games of the year. And it just fell flat on its face. And not only did it fall flat on its face, it was King Fritz as a Titan flat on its face.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I but look, I really hope that I hope that they still put some energy into it. Maybe they can salvage something. I really would still find it being a great idea to play together or play with other people and get the experience that they probably thought most people were going to have. It's kind of like, you know, I think it reminds people of like Avengers, kind of like it's just like one of those live service co-op game, grindy games. And you know, but when you play those by yourself, like you're really losing out, kind of like Anthem and stuff like that, that it was just meant to be a multiplayer game and almost push so hard that it flops as a multiplayer game. But yeah,
Anthem was a really good idea.
Yes, man. It looks so cool, man.
I mean, I played Anthem for about a week and like, I mean, I was genuinely enjoying it, but nobody was playing it.
Oh, that sucks.
You know, the flying mechanics were fantastic. I mean, it was a really great idea, just poorly executed. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad because like, once again, it's a really great idea.
And it's like, a new IP, man. It's like a new idea, which is like what we should all be rooting for. Like there's only so many Halos and Last of Us, and you know, like sequels are great. And I look forward to a lot of them. But like, man, it's been a while. Like I feel like we're still living off of the games that came out like from the 360 era and PS3 and maybe even like the PS2. Like, I mean, look, Nintendo just released like their 20th like Zelda game, you know. I mean, like they're, you know, when you have a franchise and an IP that's successful, like no matter if it's old or brand new, like, you know, you got to support it. But that's it. Like Xbox always gets shit on for not having exclusives. And so this is like them, like you said, they spent all this money. Okay, where are the games? And then they're like, oh, we got Redfall. And then Redfall falls on its face. And now it's like, oh, shit. But here's my thing real quick to bring it back to the showcase. Yeah. I'm hoping that, correct me if I'm wrong, the showcase was announced before Redfall released. I'm not sure. I think that's true. Maybe or it was like really close.
I think it was, I think.
Was it like after? I think it was shortly after. Maybe it was.
No, honestly, I think it was actually probably about a month or so prior to Redfall's release.
Okay.
Because the developer direct that Xbox had at the beginning of the year was honestly like, it was a really, although I was rather unimpressed with the stuff that they showed in the direct, besides Redfall. I mean, I was stoked for Redfall at the time. Although like I wasn't super stoked for the stuff that they showed, I loved that format. Like I loved that format.
The presentation was nice.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And that's where that's one of those really good examples of Xbox being really good at showing the games that they have in the pipeline. But like, you know, the thing is, the issue is like those presentations, they're tailored to make the game look as best as it possibly can in that moment. Anyways, moving on. And a lot of people were really bummed out that Starfield wasn't in there. And then Todd Howard came out and, you know, I think about a month after that, and was just like, hey, look, you know, we're trying our best right now to make Starfield. You know, we're putting a lot of time into it and we want to show you. So, and that's when it was announced that, that Starfield was going to get its own direct. Now, I think maybe the Xbox showcase was announced after that. I can't remember the timeline, but any case, no, the Starfield direct has been in existence for
quite some
has
time.
been known for quite some time. Yeah.
Well, so like either way, we all know like by the time we find out, they've already planned and know what they're about to do. So they knew before they announced the showcase, before they announced Starfield in that showcase, that they were gearing up to show some games. But then you have Redfall fail. And I feel like they had to go back to the drawing board and go, we really need to swing for the fences, because if we come out with some weak, CGI trailers, like no release dates, not any gameplay, and no updates to some games that people are really excited for. Like, yeah, where is all these games after you spent all this money? And I get it. The whole Activision thing has been such a, man, what a shitstorm that's been.
What a roller coaster ride, right?
Man. Yeah. And you can see, dude, I see it on Twitter. They're like rooting really hard for Diablo 4.
Oh my God.
They're like, yes, Diablo 4, man. It's hella good, isn't it? Yeah. Like, play it on Xbox.
I'll be genuinely curious to see what the sales are like for Diablo 4, because Microsoft, I think, had the promotional rights for it.
Man, you saw that they announced today that it's like the fastest selling Blizzard game of all time.
Yeah, well,
That's
it
crazy.
is, but the question is like, which system is it selling on?
Right. Yeah. Who's getting it? Probably PC, dude. We all lose out to PC at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that like I've been playing it on PS5. I really wanted to get a head start on it, so I bought the digital deluxe. I mean, I'm usually a physical release kind of person, but like I really wanted to. I didn't want to wait until today to play it.
Right.
And it's my game of the year currently.
Really, dude? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely. So, I've had lengthy discussions with my guys about like this thing, and my buddy Jeremiah brought up an interesting point about how like that, like from a technical standpoint and from a rather flawless launch, and I can agree with him on this, that like for a time, Hi-Fi Rush would be like the only real clear flawless game of the year contender. Despite my personal opinions on it, I can see where he comes from. But like, if you want to talk about a flawless launch despite some pre-launch hiccups, like I don't want to fault Blizzard for having some hiccups during the pre-release.
Right.
I don't want to fault them on that, because
it's like a beta. Like that,
yeah,
you're supposed to make the mistakes there so they can fix it before the official release.
Yeah. So like the launch night of Thursday, there was some now it seemed to be most prevalent on PS5, but I did see some cases that Xbox and PS5 were having authentication issues. So people weren't able to get in on the Thursday night, but that was quickly resolved. Thankfully, I was like busy doing something that Thursday night, so I couldn't play anyway.
Right.
And then Friday, I was able to jump in on Friday. I played it, lots of fun. Saturday, there was another hiccup where I think probably what happened was Saturday, everybody who had gotten the digital deluxe edition were just now finally able to play after like working all week. But it got cleared up after a couple of hours. And then Sunday I was able to play. Like I played all day on Sunday. And I played a little bit this morning, and I have been having a fun time, and the game runs great, despite it being all online. And it's a simplistic formula, but like it's simplicity mastered, in my opinion.
And it works.
Diablo 4 is simplicity mastered. Like you got five classes you can choose from. You can pick male or female, and like the skill tree is
massive.
It's massive and relatively easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I have issue with the skill tree is I wish that you could see what each ability does.
Yeah.
That's like my big thing, right? It it tells you what it does, but it doesn't like show you what it does. And sometimes I really like to go with like the aesthetic of how an ability looks, rather than sometimes whether rather than what it does.
Well, let me ask you this: what class are you? Which one did you pick?
I've dipped my fingers into all of them except for Barbarian. I've gotten through the prologue with all of them except Barbarian.
Okay.
But Necromancer's broken. Like Necromancer is the class that you play like it's accidental easy mode.
Yeah, like that's the one I started out with, and it was me and my girlfriend playing. She played she's a druid, and so she's running around as this like werebear, right? Just smashing stuff up. And then I picked Necromancer to start out. But then I was like, man, I kind of feel like I'm being really passive. So I wanted something a little bit more engaging. So I was like, hey, do you mind if I switch this up? So I'm a sorcerer right now, and I'm focusing a lot on ice as like my like focus attacks, and then AoE is like fire. But yeah, we just started last night, so we're not even that far. We're gonna play tonight again after this recording, and yeah, so far beautiful. The cinematics are amazing. It's just good for Blizzard, man, because I know they felt the pressure after Overwatch 2. And then obviously like them and Activision are in the news constantly with this Xbox thing. So it's almost like, well, what's all the trouble Xbox is going, through if this game comes out and it's like, it's kind of mid, kind of trash. But, yeah, dude, I mean, it's a classic series too, man. And it's really great to see like people who have played these Diablo games for like over 20 years get a sequel that's like, from what a lot of reviews have been saying, is like one of the best ones, if not the best Diablo game in the series.
Oh yeah. And I'm really happy that Diablo was released before the acquisition was finalized, because the Xbox, like the crazy Xbox fans online, would have claimed it as their own.
Yeah, you're right.
And this needed, I think this game really needed to be an independent Blizzard win.
Yeah.
And especially like after like the crazy stuff with Diablo Immortal, but no, it's so much fun. And every class, I mean, I'm not a big fan of like the barbarian kind of class. If it was like I don't know, there's something about barbarian that it's like I don't like the whole big burly thing. I don't know. But like the druid is a lot of fun. Like I see the appeal. You can easily tank with it. The source, like I'm sure that the barbarian's fun, and I need to dip my toes into it, but every class is fun. There are multiple ways that you can build every class, and it's just like it's a great formula. It's a great gameplay loop that they have simply perfected since Diablo 3. And yeah, and it's had a flawless launch.
When did Diablo 3 come out?
Like a long time ago, like
feels
2010. And
wow.
and Diablo 3 had a horrendous launch.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. I remember when it launched, and it was just bad. It was so bad. This one has been great. The game, yeah. I mean, despite like sometimes entering one zone and then leaving it, sometimes there's a weird like hiccup, but like I have nothing but praise for the game. And some of my other friends, they're just like, is it really your game of the year? I was like, well, like, I mean, as far like it's the only game that's launched without an apology letter.
Yeah, right. That trend's got to go, dude. Oh my gosh.
Seriously, like, I mean, every $70 release this year has gotten an apology letter.
I think we've gotten used to it too, man. I think that like I take that into consideration when I'm playing a game like Diablo 4. I'm enjoying it. It feels next gen, even though it's got, like you said, like a classic gameplay loop. But at the same time, dude, we've gotten so used to being let down. of all the hype and even like known IPs and known developers slipping up and messing up and putting out some mid stuff, or like even like Jedi Survivor, which I haven't played yet, I heard has had a terrible PC launch and
a questionable console launch.
Yeah, but like underneath there's a great game.
Oh yeah, I got the platinum trophy for it. There's and it's Jedi Survivor is easily one of the best. It's easily the best post Disney Star Wars story that I've experienced.
Yeah, I loved Fallen. What was it? Fallen Jedi or Fallen Order?
Well, so I guess you could say the Jedi games have been fantastic. Fallen Order was great.
Yeah.
Survivor really pushed the storytelling from Fallen Order, and it was fantastic. But it had frame rate issues. It couldn't hold 60. I had to lower it down to 30. Which is fine. I'm not a stickler for frame rates. But when the frame rate problems cause the game to crash, I'm going to have to switch to, I'm going to have to switch to another frame rate, which I don't always necessarily want to do.
No, who does and who should at this rate? Like at this time with like the tech that we have out there, there shouldn't be a problem.
So, I'm a big supporter of patches. I love the idea of patches because, I mean, you and I were roughly the same age. We grew up in a time that, like, if you got a broken game, you were out $60 or you were out $50. Like, the first Xbox, I mean, I think patches weren't really a prevalent thing until like the late aughts, like so around like 2008, 2009 is when patches kind of really started being a thing. But developers didn't use them as a crutch. Right. So like, I love the idea of patches. I like the idea of a day one patch. It's like, okay, well, we launched, the game went gold and it's a playable game and everything's good. But we've been working on it and we found things here, we found things there. So we're going to put out a day one patch. So that way you have an even cleaner experience.
Right.
Day one. But like so I'm a huge supporter of patches because it means that a game that maybe has something broken in it that wasn't quite discovered when the game went gold can get fixed.
Right.
But now it has become this insufferable crutch.
Oh, they've been abusing that, dude. Abusing the way that they can just put out like a half-baked product and then go, oops, my bad. Oh, well, thanks for your money. We'll fix it like whenever we can.
So it's just, and it's I actually have like a really like interesting theory as to what the problem is.
Okay, go for it.
And I think because this is an issue that is most prevalent in third party games that I'm noticing.
Okay.
And I think what's happening is that these third party developers have to optimize for multiple systems. So right now they're having to optimize for PlayStation 5, for PC, and for Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X. Because despite what some people say, there is clear-cut evidence that there has to be different optimizations for both the Series S and the Series X.
Oh, definitely. Dude, look, I just got an X like probably a month and a half or so ago because I was noticing playing certain games like Resident Evil 4. I was like, this is not what this doesn't look next gen. Like I get it, like it's passing off as next gen, but and I've noticed the difference. I've gone back and played games that I played on my S, on my X, and
it's just a cleaner experience.
True 4K, 60 frames per second. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. Yep.
So I think what's happening is, especially on the PC front, because PC seems to no longer be the most reliable playing console. Because if you look at all of those apology notes, PC is mentioned in almost every single one of them. But what's happening is these games are getting their optimization is getting stretched thin, right? And then they're getting super big. They're getting way too big for their britches. And I think I mentioned this in one of my videos that I actually put out about a month ago. These games are just getting way too big that even the most powerful consoles and the most powerful systems can't quite keep up because the truth of the matter is, not everyone can afford a $4,000 like Uber, suck my, system that like has like the optimal settings, right? You've got me with a 1070 graphics card, that like, in that like I'd have to play any PC game that I play. I need to lower the settings. So there's a lot of different things coming into play. And I think it's really, really starting to affect these massive games. I mean, Jedi Survivor was a 170 gigabyte download game.
That's insane.
Yeah. Every Call of Duty is pushing 200 gigs. Okay. It's super frustrating because, this is one thing that the Series X did, definitely got right, was that they put a terabyte SSD in their system, whereas the PlayStation only put a 500 one.
That's weird, man.
So every game is anywhere. Most games are anywhere between 75 to maybe 110 gigabytes. That means I can only put about 6 AAA games on my system at any given time. And
that's frustrating. I think that's like, I think with Xbox, because of Game Pass and stuff, and they knew that people were just going to be constantly downloading, uninstalling, they wanted you to put as many games as you could on there. But, I think like you said, we're both from that same generation of being able to try games and being able to rent games, and also not having to install games unless you're like on PC. And now it's just like first of all, before you buy a game, you better be positive that it's a game you want because of that price tag. Then on top of that, buying games at launch is a 50-50. And on top of that, we're still kind of in this place where I like playing Diablo 4. Oddly enough, I was like, man, this feels like next gen. Just looks it. I don't know. Just the game, when the gameplay and the graphics are
it's a clean, finished game.
Yeah.
Something that we have been deprived of mostly
For
here
years.
in 2023. Okay.
Well, so let me bring this up to you real quick because there's a couple of things I want to mention, and then we're going to wrap up. But so when we're talking about this showcase, right, that's coming up, obviously Xbox has to bring exclusives. But here's the thing, man. Like, I'm looking at some of the best, quote unquote, best video games of 2023. And I'm gonna go off and talk about some of these. Just like say the title, and then just think, everybody listening, think of like where you can play these games, right? Okay, Resident Evil 4, you can play that, I think, on everything, right?
You play it on everything.
Dead Space, I think
you can play it on everything.
Diablo 4, everything. Star Wars,
everything.
Street Fighter 6, Hogwarts Legacy, everything. And there's plenty more, but man, really the exclusives are Nintendo, Fire Emblem Engage. Let's see. They had Advanced Wars, which is kind of like a remaster. So is Metroid Prime. Zelda, obviously, and that's going to be up there for Game of the Year. But it seems like third parties are out there right now. And
this was a big year for third party output.
Big year.
There's no doubt about that. Like Sony's having a slow year. And honestly, I'm okay if I'm happy with the stuff that Sony's been giving me. So if they need to have a slow year, I'm willing to let them have a slow year.
Yeah. And plus they have 2 huge titles this year, Final Fantasy and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
That alone will carry them. They'll be fine. They don't need anything else. But if you're looking at Xbox right now, they can win. They can just stay afloat with third-party titles because some of the biggest ones this year you can play on Xbox, but you can also play them anywhere else. But they really need to come out on Sunday and tell us something we weren't expecting. You know, like, we're dropping Fable next, you know, or something like, not, I don't think they'll drop Fable, but give us some like reassurance that, you're about to see these games. And, you know, thankfully you've been able to enjoy some really good games because they're third party and they've been on every system. I mean, I don't think you can do it right now, but you'll be able to play Hogwarts Legacy on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know how that's going to work, but anyway.
I don't know how that's going to work either because it had some serious problems on a PlayStation 5 at launch. So
see, man, and that's it, man. It's just, I think we're in this weird place where, like you said, like they're developing for too many systems and
the games are too big.
Too big, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too big. What was I going to say? I was going to Xbox needs system sellers.
Yeah.
You know,
some console sellers, man, for sure. Yes.
Or ecosystem. I'll use the terminology that the fan base uses. Ecosystem sellers. They need ecosystem sellers. Right now, here's the thing. Like my time and cut me off whenever you need to cut me off. My time is stretched between work, watching anime, working on my YouTube channel, and playing video games. I don't have time to play 1,000 indie games. I don't have time to I don't have time to try this game that is currently getting really bad reviews because it's having like optimization issues. Redfall. That's the game that I'm referring to here.
Yeah.
So I am playing I know this is I know this is cliche and sometimes lacks anything of substance. I'm playing the biggins. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing the big
heavy
ones.
hitters. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so the point that I was trying to make is like, there aren't any heavy hitters on Xbox right now that I want to play. The last one that I wanted to play was Redfall, and I got burned. I got burned hard. Like I bought my Series S for Hi-Fi Rush and Redfall. And how do I say this without sounding what's the word, counteractive or whatever, but like my basically like I was able to afford my Xbox Series S because I'm doing well for my age,
right?
But the thing is, like, if I was in a state of poverty and I had spent money on my Series S, I would have been, it would not have been worth it. So do I, because of the position that I'm in currently, I don't regret buying my Xbox, but I do. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, because not everybody's going to be able to, afford one of these games or, every console just because like, you got to have a Sony PlayStation because Final Fantasy, you got to have an Xbox for this. It's like some people have to pick and choose. And that's why I have been a supporter of Game Pass and stuff. And I think for some people, like that is like the best deal. But I completely understand what you're saying. Like these consoles and gaming in general, as much as it's become like a more accepted and available to a wider audience, I think it's also become, it's still an expensive hobby. Like I have a buddy of mine that I love playing games with. Like he's my best friend. And, I've been trying so hard to get him to, get on an Xbox or something. And he's just like, dude, I mean, with work and stuff, it's hard to convince myself to drop a couple $100 on this like hardware that I'm, I don't know if I'll have time to justify that purchase,
Exactly. Yeah. So the thing is, so Xbox needs ecosystem sellers, and in theory, Bethesda and ZeniMax was a great acquisition to provide them with ecosystem sellers. Bethesda, I mean, Bethesda has Elder Scrolls and Fallout and now Starfield. And uh, every Elder Scrolls game is a hit. Every Fallout game except for 76 is generally a hit. And so, but the thing is, like, I have to hold Xbox, and I have to hold Bethesda to a higher standard now. And I know that it's completely unfair, but if they're going to throw around $70 billion in acquisitions over the course of half a decade, then I have to hold them to that high standard, because clearly they have money.
Right.
And you know, if they have the money to do those things, then I think then I truly believe that they have the money to make Starfield nothing less than
just like a great game, like you said, like just come out.
It's got to score 85. It's got to score 85. Like
yeah, it can't be average at best. It's gotta be above average at least, right?
And honestly, like, okay, I know that average is in the 70s, but like in gaming, average is like 88.
Right.
Like 88 to 92 has been like fairly consistent. Like that's what every game is sort of releasing at these days, is like okay, I'll lower it a little bit. I'll widen it. So like 86 to 93 is sort of like that. And I think Starfield, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt and bring it outside of that at 85. And if it can score an 85 and not have any egregious bugs at launch, then I will consider it a success, and I'll be very happy for Xbox and in Bethesda.
Yeah, same here, man. And it's kind of like what you alluded to with Diablo 4. And what I was kind of tagging on to that is live up to the hype, you know, like the hype out here with anything like movies, gaming, things of that nature. Sometimes you can collapse under all that pressure, and you can promise things that you really can't keep those promises. And there's a lot of obstacles like in the way for you to market, promote this game and this product, and make sure that nowadays that it comes out and it makes everyone happy, you know, it satisfies at least like a certain, you know, I mean, like, I think gaming is so like just popular amongst like all different kinds of people now, that's why there are those indie, you know, games that are out there, and there's these different genres that have been popping up over the years. But, you know, you got these, like you said, these heavy hitters, these powerhouses that, from developers to names and IPs, that once you tell me that this is coming out from so-and-so and I know what they're known for, like it's got to live up to it. And I think right now, if Xbox can do that, like that's really good momentum. And I think we'll find out a lot this Sunday when it comes to that showcase. I think we'll find out some release dates. I think we'll hear some updates on some games that we've been expecting, and hopefully that will add some excitement, especially over the summer, since we don't really have E3. I know we have like the Summer Game Fest or whatever. That's actually right around the corner too. I think it's that Monday. So I don't know, man.
I think Xbox sort of kicks it off.
Yeah. So, you know, for the sake of gaming in general, man, like I hope that we can finally feel like we're in that next generation, and just be excited and not be so frustrated and disappointed with certain things. Like I'm trying to be optimistic with Xbox. I understand that they've, you know, haven't really nailed the beginning of this generation, and we can both agree this generation has been very odd and weird, and, you know, but there's only so long that you can point to the pandemic and things like that and say, that's the reason why we didn't make the product the way that it should be. Like, nah, man, you're charging $70 in this economy. You're charging, you know, you're promising all these things, and if you're not delivering, like, it's just, we can't have that. But, you know, man, I think we'll probably talk, obviously, again at some point. Hopefully we can recap a little bit and see if the showcase lived up to any of the hype or anything like that. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on the pod to talk, man.
Anytime, dude. It's always a pleasure talking with you. So I really like talking to you simply because we are two sides to the same. We are two different sides to the same coin, and
Yes.
we can have like. Although I'll be honest, like I like to push all of my friends' buttons, and you are no different. But at the end of the day, like, you know, we have healthy conversation,
Absolutely.
which is more that can be said with like a lot of the gaming community,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, we are working class people. We spend 40 hours a week working, and we just want to come home and enjoy the hobby that we love and not get screwed over because we are giving our hard-earned money uh, to these people, and I feel somewhat betrayed when they give me a product that isn't worth that $70 that I just gave them.
100, dude. Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. And I think it's healthy to have these kind of conversations, especially when we know that we don't see quite eye to eye with everything, but we at the core of it still have like this passion for the hobby itself, for gaming. It's made a big positive impact on both of our lives in one way or
Mhm.
another. And so it's always fun to really just sit down with someone, have like a really like undistracted conversation where you can just kind of geek out about these topics,
Oh
whether
yeah.
it's good, whether it's bad. At the end of the day, like, life goes on, and we'll be on to
Mhm.
the next thing. But yeah, man, I really appreciate it, and I'm sure you will be on again. And yeah, so guys, if you would like to, and I hope you will, check out Brent on his YouTube channel, Work in Progress. Like I said, the link will be in the description of this podcast episode. And I hope that you guys go over there and check out his content. And one last time, appreciate it, Brent. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks for having me. Yeah, definitely. It was a lot of fun.
no problem. All right, so that's going to be the end of part one of a two-part recording tonight. All right, guys, ready for part two? I'm here with Mike, my good old buddy Mike from Uncle Mike's Studios, right, dude? Didn't you change your name? Is it Uncle Mike Studios now, or is it still World?
That's still a working title. Right now, it's still currently World.
Okay, cool. Which I've always liked. And you can find Mike on Twitch. He's got a YouTube channel. He does art. Hey, I'll drop this the links in the description. And so I hope you guys can check him out. Mike's been on the podcast more than a handful of times, and we usually do talk about either gaming or anime and stuff like that. But I wanted to have Mike on the episode to talk about Zelda, or Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the brand new Zelda game on the Nintendo Switch that just came out not even a month ago. And me and Mike have both been playing it. Like I just stated to him, I think he's a little bit further than I am, but I still wanted to get his thoughts and opinions on his experience. And I was hoping that we could just have like a, pretty laid back conversation about everything, and just, I don't know, really just kind of compare like our experiences. Cause it's it's a big, big game, and it's so open world to the point where you can, everybody's probably playing or at least having a different experience playing this type of game, dude. So let me just ask you, right out the gate, how are you liking Tears of the Kingdom so far?
I love, love, love this game. This says somehow they took what they had from Breath of the Wild and they picked it up and they just said we're gonna add like two more layers to, and not even just two more layers, but even more, just everything. They built more on top of they just, oh, they killed it. They really nailed it,
Yeah.
man. They really just nailed it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, the game is so large with more content. They tripled the content that was up in Breath of the Wild. I remember being in Breath of the Wild, and a lot of the NPCs were kind of sort of whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But on here, all of them, they have their own kind of own stories and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
This game is gonna go down as like one of the biggest and best games that has released for Nintendo since Breath of the Wild, and even before then, since Breath of the Wild, since probably Ocarina of Time. It's hands down, it's got one of the best stories. They really built a lot with connecting the dots on a lot of the keynotes in the stories, a lot of the timeline and stuff like that. And going into the timeline business, oh man, I could spend all afternoon, all evening with you talking about that. But I don't want to delve too deep into that today.
Yeah, I think
What I will say is, I'm sorry.
no, I think once like I get further down the line, or I'm taking my time with it, but like once I beat it, I definitely would like to have another conversation and just like geek out completely. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So for the most part, what I've been doing mainly, I've only done one mainline dungeon in the game.
Wow.
And then the rest of it is like um just side questing and grinding and fighting big monsters and getting better at fighting some of the harder enemies and stuff. I've learned a lot of skills, and this is a game where it's very open ended. So like, there's more than one solution to all kinds of problems and obstacles in the game, and that's one of the most freeform things about it. That's one of the most engaging things about the game is the fact that I can do whatever I want, but also there's always something else to find and always something else to do and discover. And I go and I look for the characters and the towns and the locations from Breath of the Wild, from my experience with Breath of the Wild. And it's refreshing because there's some real progress going on in those locations.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if anything, this game, like Breath of the Wild, which I feel like when we look back at this, I don't think that we'll really talk about these games as separate entities. I think that there will be like, kind of talked about as like the same thing, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Tears of the Kingdom is just going to be Breath of the Wild DLC. I can say right now confidently that that is not the case. I think you would agree with that. It's way big. I get why people would think about that. And I just, once you experience it, which like Breath of the Wild and this have done something for me that a lot of open world games don't actually succeed at, and it's really give me that true sense of freedom, exploration. Like, I don't know if it's the camera, dude. I don't know if it's the ambience, the third person look, or the aesthetic in general. There's something about these two games, and especially we'll just focus on Tears of the Kingdom, but where you can spend hours just walking around, checking out sights and sounds and just stumbling through that world, like at your own pace, and just go, oh, I see that over there. Go check it out. Oh, it's a cave. I'm down here. I get this thing. You just discover and discover. And like the way they improved on pretty much all the aspects of Breath of the Wild. And I know a lot of people are still upset about the durability. I'm not sure if you have your own opinion on that. If you'd like to, let me know about that. But would you say, though, that this game can feel a little overwhelming? Because there is just now so much to do. Like, now you have the sky, underground, and Hyrule. And that was already big enough, dude. Like, are you having fun just taking your time with it? Or do you feel like you're kind of like overwhelmed by all of the things that you can do now in that game?
Honestly, and I'm not like everybody else. And, one thing, the durability has never really been an issue for me. Yeah, it's kind of sort of like, I think the most annoying thing when it comes to the durability is the Master Sword. I wish it could be a lot more, durable, a lot more able to handle things. Or I wish that they actually brought like the a sort of gauge or something to tell you, how much durability is left on the weapons. Just small little quality of life stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to the weapon system and the combat system in the game, is very freeform. And there is so many other solutions to just like dealing with enemies other than just like swinging a sword around until it breaks.
Right.
In this game, there's you have these old Zonai devices that you can kind of sort of piece together, and you can create some of the most craziest weapons of mass destruction ever. I've seen so many brain dead methods of how to kill some of the strongest enemies in the game.
Really?
And yes, and I haven't seen it yet, but when I do, I know there are like some really stupid, crazy like um creations that have taken out the final boss in the game.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
sure people are hella creative with like this new power set that they've given you in this game. Are you enjoying that aspect of the game, the building and
I love
that
it.
way?
I
Yeah.
love it when I get down to it, and and you can save your creations. There's a way to do that too. But when you get down to it and you're like used to it and you understand how the system works about, creating your stuff, you can create some really unique uh vehicles, weapons, mobile weapons. You can pretty much make an entire Gundam in the game and have it running around and controlling it and stuff like that. It's insane what people are doing with this thing, and it's ridiculous. It's fun.
It's
It's pure fun.
fun. It's impressive, dude. I remember hearing recently that the creator of Zelda was talking about how when they announced this, I think back in March or previously like a year ago in March, um, how it was already done pretty much, but they just took a year to polish it. And it shows, man, because I'm sure seeing how people played Breath of the Wild and were able to like speed run and use those abilities and problem solve and like beat the boss without, doing like pretty much the whole game. Stuff like that is crazy to me, dude. But it only made sense that they took their time to make sure that this game, when it was released, now, hey, it is pushing the Nintendo Switch to its limits, right? Like it
Oh,
is.
definitely. Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. Oh man, I've had a bunch of crazy frame dips.
Yeah.
But
That sucks.
if you really want to tap into that, I would say there's definitely a Switch 2 out there.
It's got to
Nintendo's
be.
not talking about. Definitely. And at this point, it exists. And that's the thing, look, it exists. They didn't release it yet because of COVID.
Yeah, I believe that's like a big part of it. They saw what happened to Sony and Microsoft with like shortages and parts and stuff. And you know how Nintendo fans are, bro. Like when they do have a Switch 2 out there, it's going to be difficult to get your hands on one.
And you got to remember, man, like COVID hit like back in like February 2020. So like it was already the beginning of the year. More than likely, Nintendo had a presentation already geared up and everything was already recorded. And it was ready to go. And it just didn't pan out that way.
Do you think they're going to double down on like the hybrid system, or do you think they're going to rely more on power and being a home console with maybe some other handheld abilities or something like that? Have you heard any rumors about the Switch 2 and what that might look like?
What they're going to do is a successor, and it's going to be more powerful and all that, of course, but more than likely also um I would see them doing something else just like ridiculous. And if they're not careful, that's the thing. Nintendo, they have done this thing twice where they've tried to essentially make like a sequel to their
Mm-hmm.
consoles, but they are really bad at marketing them.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see
So,
that.
like,
You're talking about like the
one,
Wii U?
with the Wii U, that was one thing, but you also had the Virtual Boy.
I would even say the GameCube had tough times.
Even the GameCube had a tough time, but that was because of Nintendo shooting themselves in the foot.
Right.
They were so worried about piracy and everything like that that they wasn't focused on the simple fact that, hey, get something that can play like DVDs. This is what you need, for more storage and stuff like that.
Right.
But the GameCube itself, it was still a pretty decent machine. It was a pretty cool powerhouse, and it was able to run a lot of crazy games. And a lot of those games look great even to this day.
I would say, man, because I think we'll bounce around Nintendo and that topic, but getting back to Zelda for a second, though, I think like playing Tears of the Kingdom, you see a lot of elements from previous Zelda games, like even from like Wind Waker on the GameCube to things like Skyward Sword and stuff. I know you've experienced all those games probably to the fullest, where I haven't. But am I right or wrong in that? Like it seems like it's like almost like a celebration of some of the coolest things from previous installments of Zelda, and it's just all in one place now.
I will say that I have the strongest memories in the 3D games. I have played a lot of the 2D games.
Okay.
I will say I have enjoyed a lot of the 2D games, but the real magic happens in the 3D games. For now, I think that like it's between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess as to being like my favorite Links and stuff. My favorite Zelda game is like Twilight Princess.
Really?
But yeah. But my favorite Link is definitely Wind Waker. Link, because of how expressional he is and everything.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's hilarious, dude. Have you ever Game Grumps? They did a playthrough of Wind Waker, and it's so funny, dude. Just because, like you said, the faces that Link ends up making.
There's that, but then you have like the If Link Can Talk. There was these little videos that this channel came out with, Ericsson Gaming.
You gotta send me a link, dude.
I'm gonna have to send you a link. It's pretty funny.
What's your least favorite Zelda game?
My least favorite? Well, I mean, if you want to count Zelda 2, everybody doesn't like Zelda 2, though.
Yeah, do you have a hot take? Do you have a Zelda hot take?
Well, nowadays I kind of sort of get the whole flack around Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
I do.
Did you play that? Well, it's not a remake. I think it's just a remaster, right? That came out.
A remaster. I enjoyed it. I played it several times on the Wii, and I finished it and did everything I could in it. And I turned around and I did it again on the Switch, but I didn't finish the version on the Switch. And something about it with like the cutscenes and having to like sit through all of that, and then the motion controls. I got to that point where it's like my body is catching up with me, and I'm not a kid anymore. I can't swing around a sword all day, I'm not gonna swing around a Joy-Con looking like an asshole.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll start. I don't think they'll ever kind of ditch some of the quirky stuff, but I don't think I
don't want them to.
No, I hope they go into some other directions that are, I don't know, like more fun in a way for everyone. Because I feel like what have they done with like the Switch? They've done like Ring Fit, which is pretty cool. That's unique. They've done like that Mario Kart thing where you have the camera, and they've tried some like, I think the last game that really used the motion controls was like ARMS or something. Like that was like the only one that comes to mind. Like the motion control aiming on Zelda, I'm like, I turn it off immediately. Like, nah, I'm good.
No, actually, that was pretty useful.
Is it really?
The motion controls in Zelda are pretty useful.
Dang.
I say. Yeah, they're very useful.
I've always found that I'll forget they're on, and I go to aim my bow, and I'm wobbling all over the place. I'm like, what the hell? And it's just like I
don't know, but you might need to check for Parkinson's or something.
Look, man, it ain't me, bro. That it's some. Maybe I'll get it checked out. I'll let you know how it goes, man. But yeah, it's
when I'm playing and I'm aiming and stuff like that, I'm still using the right stick. But I guess it's because I'm used to playing games like Splatoon, that I'm able to like fine tune my aiming a little bit better. Because when I'm playing Splatoon, people are just bouncing all over the place, and you have to catch them at a certain time, at the right time. Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's with this game and its mechanics and everything like that, I think it knocked it out of the park. And it's a very customizable game. You play however way you see fit. You play in any order you see fit. If you want to go straight to the final boss, once again, you can do that.
Do you like that though, dude? Or do you wish it was a little bit more linear or a little bit more like story? Like, I know this one did improve with the story and how they want to emphasize like that the story is more part of the experience, which I think from the beginning you can tell that was something they really wanted to do. Where Breath of the Wild was just like, yeah, go do whatever, you know.
I can say that without a doubt, they did knock the story out of the park.
Yeah.
This game's version of Ganondorf is now like definitely one of my favorites, just because of the sleazy face he makes during a certain scene. It's like the greatest thing ever, I swear to God. But also just a lot of the stuff that is like mirrored from Ocarina of Time, and it's gotten my mind just racing with all these theories and stuff like that. And I've gathered all the dragon tears. I've seen a lot of the cutscenes. I'm not going to
Okay.
spoil anything or anything for anybody
Appreciate
if you
it.
just want to listen in on it. But I will say, when the emotional parts of this game with the story and stuff like that, they really hit with a beat. You know,
Mhm.
there's some really heavy moments, and I think that this game is one of the ones that you want to experience at the fullest. So I would suggest, enjoy yourself. Take your time with it, as much time as you can, as much time as your life allows you, and get lost in the world.
Let me ask you this, man. Do you think it's that it justifies that price tag? Because this is one of the first Switch games or Nintendo first party games to have that $69.99. So, do you think it's worth that? Because we're seeing that from like Sony, Microsoft, I think even Steam probably. But like this next generation has been upping that price, and it's kind of unusual to see from Nintendo do that. But I mean, dang, dude. I mean, it's a really good game, but do you think do you think that was the right move on their part? Did they just think like, yo, we know this is going to be a surefire hit and we'll just go ahead and get that money?
Man, money that's the thing. When it comes to um what's happening in the world with how things are, um money wise, with the whole
Mm-hmm.
recession and everything like that. It's understandable that you want to raise your prices for some of the things that you're working hard on. Or you got your people, so that your people can be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that in the far and few in between, the diamonds in the rough, Zelda, along with many others like Elden Ring, like Ghost of Tsushima, like just a lot of those games where really they put a lot of work into the art of the game
Right.
before, and the gameplay, and the love that they show with that makes the price tag justifiable. This is one of those games, one of those experiences where you will see what the extra $10 was for. You will see that this game was worth more than just an extra $10. It was worth more. It was for somebody else. This was like their life's work. This was their dedication. This was a love letter. This game was made with nothing but pure passion, and probably a lot of caffeine, and lacking a lot of sleep, a
You
lot
got
of
that right.
missed birthdays, a lot of family drama. Dude, people sacrifice for this game. This and for this series, and it's games like that. It's stuff like that where like the story behind those games, behind those experiences, I don't even I don't even bat an eye when I say I want to pay for something like that, you know, because it comes from a deeper place. That's why it's like, you know, I don't sit down and pay attention to every other game that comes out all the time. The ones that are like these super grindy, flashy, loot box multiplayer games that all just want to all of a sudden be Fortnite.
Right.
Um, Yeah, yeah. I don't pay attention to those because it seems to me like it's what it is. It's trying to take my money, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but one of the main ones I could recommend, like that I'm referencing right now, not recommend right now, but referencing is definitely Suicide Squad. The
Oh,
Suicide Squad game. Oh my god, when it came out and I looked at it, and it's supposed to be Kevin Conroy's last game.
mm.
Um, but everybody's got like a gun and everybody's flying around and shooting. I'm like, I don't want that.
Oh, yeah, dude. Especially
Um,
after like the failure of like Avengers and some of these other games that have like used that model, like Gotham Knights, which I got on sale and
yeah,
it's not bad, but
it's not bad, but it's so
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, me and Brent were talking about just like Redfall and looter shooters and just, you know, some of these like games that are copying formats that are just like, yeah, a few of them do it really, really well, but a lot of people copy it and they do not always succeed. Um, Let me
another
ask you
close
this, man, though.
Redfall.
Oh gosh, man, yeah, we got
Yeah.
into a whole thing about that, man.
Okay.
Yeah, we got into a whole thing.
Let's focus back in on the other thing.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, I have two things. The first
Yes.
thing, I'll ask you this question. When it comes to Zelda, and after playing Breath of the Wild and playing Tears of the Kingdom, and then even revisiting some other titles like Skyward Sword, do you hope the next Zelda follows this same format, or do you want them to do something different?
I want them to do something different. I do want them to do something different. I think ending here, you will be ending on a high note. You don't have to do too much of anything else. You brought in a lot of more story elements. You could pick this game up and you could run with this franchise, because what this is essentially a soft reboot, right? So with Breath of the Wild, the whole context of that story was that this was 10,000 years after the events of like the past games, right? So a lot has happened, a lot has changed, but there are things that could be talked about. There are more stories in the Zelda world that you can tell. You know, there are more villains in the Zelda world that could exist, and there's more that could happen with these villains. You know, one of my favorites is Vati, and he's from the Minish Cap. You see him. Would it be first in the Minish Cap? Yes. Yeah, he first appears in Minish Cap, and that's a whole can of worms right there. But Vati was literally just a kid who was really greedy, and he got like this hat, and the hat gave him like the ability to do whatever he wanted. A bit, essentially, you got like, it's like a wishing hat or something, and he was very corrupt about it, and he used it for evil, and the game turned into one of the best Zeldas ever. Like that's also like one of my favorite Zeldas. Minish Cap is definitely one of my favorites.
What did that come out on? Game Boy Advance or
Yeah,
PS?
it was developed by Capcom, and it came out on Game Boy Advance. The one that you're thinking of on DS, that's Four Swords.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's Four Swords, and it coincides with Four Swords Adventures. So those
Man,
two are very much connected.
I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, but at the time of this recording, Across the Spider-Verse came out recently. And
I did.
You did see it?
God, I did.
Bro, is it weird to say that you could almost compare these two projects? Like, when you're talking about passion, that's what I feel like. I feel like the passion that went into Across the Spider-Verse,
it's the same
level.
It's the same type of feeling. I want that movie physical, so that I can watch it. And it's the same way with Mario's movie. Mario movie came out. I went to see that.
That was good.
Oh, man, I love that movie. I did.
I hope we get a Zelda movie. That'd be awesome.
I want a Zelda anime.
Oh my gosh, dude! Speak it. Let's manifest that.
I want that Zelda anime with that Castlevania art style guy.
Have you read the Twilight Princess manga?
I haven't sat down and gotten into it.
Ah, man, we got to do that. We'll do that together. We'll check that out.
Most definitely, man. You got it. You got it at the house.
Nah, man, I'm gonna get it though.
Okay.
I'm gonna get it. I've just been like postponing on that, but I really need to get back into anime and manga. I've been getting back into other things like comic books and stuff like that. But let me mention this one thing. We're gonna wrap it up here in a few minutes. But when I kind of look at Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, kind of like you would look at Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. Like I feel like they're
there's this establishment of things that you are very familiar with already as it is, because you've seen the past Spider-Man movies and you played the past Spider-Man games. And so now all of those things, they're starting to come together, and they're starting to tell this new story with this new kid on the block. And a lot of people didn't know about Miles until, Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're retconning and not necessarily retconning, but you're also calling back to like a lot of the old past iterations and stories that have been told, and you're essentially incorporating it all into one great big system. This entire Spider-Verse. That's what it is.
Right.
It's the same way with Zelda. The story so far and this is just a theory. I don't know anything about anything. But my idea is that, by the end of this game, I'm going to discover that things are not quite what they seem. And if you read into Zelda lore a little bit more, you look at like the logo of the game is called the Tears of the Kingdom, but if you look behind that logo, it's the symbol of an Ouroboros, meaning paradox, time loop.
Oh.
Right.
Okay. See, this is why I want to have you back on once we both finish this game, so we can like just fully deep dive into everything.
In the first part of the game, they talked about the imprisonment war.
Yeah, that's right. I saw you stream that when you got back that night, and
they was talking about the imprisoning war, and you're thinking like imprisoning war, and then like that thing clicked for me because it was something that was dumped back in Link to the Past. So this game already has established connections to Link to the Past, and that's what this is. This is a connection directly to Link to the Past. That's what this game is, in a sense.
You know what's interesting though? Like, kind of, I don't know why I'm stuck on this comparison of Spider-Verse and Tears of the Kingdom, but the thing like that happens to certain characters and IPs, like Spider-Man in general, like Peter Parker, like he can't escape his own canon, right? Like he has to be a certain way. And like he'll always end up being a certain way, no matter what kind of writer comes in or what arc he goes through. He'll always end up being that broke nerd that can't balance responsibility with like real life and stuff. But with Miles, like you can explore new possibilities, you can have fun, you can try new things. And even though you're not technically getting a new character in these games, like when it comes to Link and Zelda, the approach and the direction that they've taken this franchise with these last two titles has been fresh and different. And I know that there's like a group of people out there that's like, oh, I don't like Breath of the Wild. I wish they would just go back to classic Zelda and dungeons and, stuff like that. But I say to those people, like, explore these new things and have an open mind. And at the core of it, it's still going to be what you fell in love with. Like when you are reading or watching something with Miles Morales, like he is still at the core of it, Spider-Man. Yeah, he might look different, he might act different, he might have different villains, different costumes, he might live somewhere different, there might be these different things. But man, after a while with like Zelda or Spider-Man or any other known IP, like you can't just keep doing the same damn thing. And that's why I've applauded Nintendo by looking at some of their IPs and going, how about we just turn Zelda into like an open world sandbox game? Okay, cool. Like, why don't we take this franchise and apply it to this genre, or kind of like, try something different,
I
use
like
different characters and stuff like that. So, because after a while you kind of get trapped. You got to you got to hit these certain beats. And,
Nintendo's been killing it with that lately, where they're always trying something different,
yeah,
and sometimes, yeah, that's not always going to work. But
right.
the times where they actually put some work into it and some love into it, it really does improve an experience, and it makes more memories, it makes more fun memories, it makes more childhoods, you know.
Yeah.
Like Splatoon or Pikmin, right? So like Pikmin, the new Pikmin trailer dropped today, right? So
Yeah. I bet you're excited for that.
oh, best believe I am. And in this one, you're gonna be able to create your own character. So I'm gonna go nuts with that.
Yeah. I saw that character creation. That's going to be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick. So that's one thing that they haven't done before with Pikmin, but with also they're doing like new modes and stuff like that, like uh night running, like the night levels and stuff like that with Pikmin, which is something that's also very new. Um, Prepare to die. Also, Splatoon, they're always coming up with like these unique ideas with Splatoon, and one of the best things that's ever came out of Nintendo was definitely Splatoon, with how much creativity they've gone crazy with on this, and it's the world, the stories, the if you ever got into Splatoon, Luke, you'd be like, oh man,
I
this
know,
is actually
man.
really dope. But
Think about this, dude. One of the first times that we gamed together after we met and when we were both working at
Splatoon,
GameStop, it was play Splatoon one night. I remember
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, we was playing Splatoon, dude. We was just chilling.
Yeah, back in
That's
the
pretty
day.
fun, man. I miss
Yeah.
that.
I
I
think that was
miss that.
before you were streaming and stuff too.
That was before I was streaming. That was before I was doing a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
It was just chilling.
Well, to wrap this up, man, I think we both have given everyone like a general idea of like what we think about this game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm definitely taking my time with it, man. So I can say for both of us that we enjoy and have enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom. Before I let you go, man, is there anything that you're looking forward to or think will happen this year for Nintendo? Like, what is their big game coming out? Like, because I know like Xbox has Starfield, Sony has Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy. What is that game for Nintendo right now? And do you think we'll get a Nintendo Direct anytime soon?
Definitely getting a Nintendo Direct pretty soon. The thing is, the best thing about Nintendo is not knowing what they're gonna do next.
Absolutely.
And with how everything is like falling in line, there are so many wild cards out there. I can just throw something out there and there's a good chance it might happen. I mean, we got out of nowhere, everybody wanted to Switch.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
yeah, like that's kind of okay. It's like, whatever.
It's all right. It's okay.
It's all right, But more than likely they're gonna do something Kirby. Well, no, they already done something Kirby.
Yeah, I was
They
about to
did
say, what
Return to
about Metroid Prime 4, man? Is that game
That's
in
I
like
was just
development
about to
hell
get
or
to that.
something?
I was just about to get to that. So no, they restarted development on the game. The game's more than likely probably in the working condition right now, and it's probably already almost done.
Oh,
Probably
wow.
just fine tuning stuff. I think that the game is definitely in good condition now. By now,
Yeah.
because that was several years ago. I
So,
won't say it was like. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago now when they said they were restarting development. Because it
so
was
what would you say though is like if you had to throw out a something that you think they'll announce this year or that will come out anytime soon for Nintendo, what do you think their next big focus will be? Especially with like the Switch 2 probably coming out next year.
that's the thing. They're in this position now where there's no telling where they'll go. They could play it safe, right? And
Mhm.
that's the thing. A desperate Nintendo, like a risky Nintendo, trying to get all those more niche games and stuff like that. That's my favorite Nintendo. They don't pull out a lot of the B team like IPs. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like it's when's the last time we've had like an F-Zero, obviously, but
Right. Yeah. F-Zero.
one thing that comes to mind, and I really do want something done with this, and I'm not even gonna say Mother 3. I'm not gonna say anything Earthbound related, but definitely Earthbound, but also not Earthbound is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Kid Icarus.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors, going around about that.
Dude, I've heard rumors about there being like a remake or a remaster or something with Kid Icarus Uprising. I would love for it to happen. Would I rather a new game? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
Or both. I would also like both.
Is
You
there
know,
a Nintendo title that you would like to see a remaster, or remake, or brought to the Switch or Switch 2 that hasn't been announced yet?
Nintendo could do so much with so many IPs.
You're
I
right.
want to see so many things. I want to see them try Star Fox.
Yeah, they
I
haven't
want,
touched. They haven't touched
they
that franchise, right?
they haven't touched it since 2015, where they screwed up by having Mr. Shigeru Innovation Miyamoto, you know,
Mm-hmm.
barking down Platinum Games' throat. And I'm pretty sure, Platinum was making a really good game for the Wii U. And Shigeru Miyamoto probably ruined it all. But hey, that's his baby though. So, I get that he probably doesn't want to do anything. He probably wants to do something that's going to be like wow,
Mm-hmm.
when people don't want wow right now. I would like to see them take another attempt at something that was kind of sort of similar to the Star Fox Assault games,
Okay.
where you have like this on ground shooter. You get inside the R wings and you're blasting off and you're fighting like these huge, monstrous machines and battleships and stuff like that. I hope they go really crazy with it. Honestly, I would like for them to take a lot of inspiration from the old Star Wars movies and comics and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
want them to expand. I really want them to expand and
There's a
build a
lot of
world.
potential there, dude. There's a lot.
There-
I mean, and if you really stop to think about it, dude, I mean, Nintendo has been doing really well in 2023. Like,
They have been cooking, my guy.
they have.
We've been eating so good. I played Kirby. I enjoyed Kirby for what it was. It was great. It was amazing. And the extra DLC, that was pretty awesome too. And then they turned around and they gave me Xenoblade DLC.
Yeah, they did.
Right before
You said
Zelda
you haven't
drops.
even touched it, have you?
I barely touched it. I barely got to play it. And
Damn.
I got like maybe those few hours that I streamed into it.
And
I
that's
played it. I fought that boss and everything like that. After that, I have not done anything heavy story
Wow.
related.
Wow.
I have not done anything heavy story related. I may have messed around with like side quests and stuff like that because I've been kind of sort of teetering on, do I want to continue the story on stream? Do I want to play this on my own time? What should I do? What should I do? Oh my God, Zelda's coming out. I got to finish this quick. I need to finish it. Otherwise, I'm never going to look at it again. Zelda's coming out.
There's so many games, man. I mean, like, there's like even like me playing Diablo 4 right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got Tears of the Kingdom going. I got this, that. It's just.
And then for me, it's Final Fantasy next.
Oh yeah, I would like to see you play that because I don't have a PlayStation 5. So if you ever get a chance to show that off, that'd be cool.
I will be streaming Final Fantasy.
Oh, that's gonna be cool. Yeah,
I
when's
will be
that come out in
streaming
July?
It's coming out this month.
This month in June? What? Okay,
2
cool.
weeks. 2
Damn.
weeks, man.
June is a busy month, bro.
June is a month, okay?
Yeah.
And this is the month where like they're coming out with all the goodies.
Yeah, man.
More than likely, Square is probably going to showcase some more on Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
Rebirth is part 2 of 7. Part 7.
Yeah, we got that Summer Game Fest coming up too. So between that, Xbox Showcase, a Direct probably this summer at some point. Yeah, I mean, whatever we think this year is gonna, turn into, we have probably no idea. So it's exciting, man.
I think when you look at Nintendo and you look at the Xbox Showcase, whenever that happens, do you know?
That's Sunday. This Sunday.
It's this Sunday? Oh,
yeah.
dear.
And then they have the Starfield showcase that's right
dear.
after that. And then I think the Summer Game Fest is Monday. So it's like bam,
man.
bam, bam. Yeah.
Then expect Nintendo to be revealing like whenever they're gonna release their Nintendo Direct. It's probably more than likely gonna be in the middle of that week.
Mm-hmm.
So because they like to do that shit like a day ahead and give you no
They
window.
do, bro. I think that works in their favor though, man. You don't have all this hype.
In their favor, but I panic, man, because like it's like, dude, I really want to stream it, but I can't stream it.
You're too short of notice, man. Well, dude, look, man.
You just gotta know, man. When I'm watching the Nintendo Direct, you know, and I'm at work, you know, and like people are asking me for stuff, I am ready to say fuck off at any moment.
Well, look, dude, if you don't get the chance to stream it live and react to it, like you should still like do something, like giving your thoughts, or hit me up and we can sit down and talk about it, dude, and put it on the pod. Yeah. That'd be fun too.
I'd be happy to help you. And get up with you on that, you know.
Hell
of course, that's something that I'm always happy to do.
100%, dude. Well, look, man, we are gonna probably wrap this one up, dude. And like I said, we'll probably end up talking again sooner than before either of us beat Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. But I really was just curious and excited to hear your thoughts on the game, dude, and just kind of focus on Nintendo because I know they've been having a great year, man. And between that and my Xbox Series X, that's where I'm doing a lot of my gaming right now. And you know, I always know that you're up to date on things, and you know you're getting the most out of Tears of the Kingdom and any of the games that you end up playing. So, yeah, we clocked
in at about 125 hours.
Golly, man, I gotta check mine. I'll let you know.
I haven't even done I've only done that one temple.
That's impressive, dude. That's so cool. Well, look, man, it's been a pleasure, man. I hope you had fun, man. Like I said, guys, if you guys want to check out Mike on his Twitch channel, check out his art, check out anything. I'm going to leave the links to his stuff in the description of this episode, just like I left for Brent and Work in Progress at the beginning of this episode. But for this one, I think that's going to be it. So I appreciate everybody listening and tuning in and supporting the podcast. And until the next episode, we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Wonder Soul. Connect with Wonder Soul by following the podcast on social media. If you would like to support Wonder Soul, please rate, review, and share the podcast and this episode. Until the next time we meet, goodbye.